Well, I had been wishing and dreaming for several years about taking Spanish students to a Spanish-speaking country because naturally it's best to learn a foreign language in the country where it's spoken. When Willie and Sue Weaver volunteered that we could go along on their family vacation to Manzanillo, Mexico, they offered to head it up, they offered to plan the details, they took care of transportation, they arranged housing, everything. It was like a dream come true.
I wanted to go on this trip because I've always wanted to go to a different country.
I thought it would be really fun to experience a little bit of how people there live.
I really wanted to get in the Spanish culture and just practice my speaking where I obviously had to because it's their culture and not America. So if I wanted to do anything, I had to speak Spanish.
Well, flying to Mexico was my first time flying ever, and it was quite an experience.
I was pretty nervous about flying, but it was really sweet how everybody was watching out for me because it was my first time, and I felt really safe, and everybody kept asking how I was and if I needed anything.
Sometimes, it got a little chaotic, and the customs was a little chaotic, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
It was a little nerve-wracking when we got in Houston on our way back, and my suitcase wasn't there, so we waited around and then almost missed our flight because we couldn't find it. But the Weavers and everybody were just really supportive and just kept telling me that it would be okay, and I actually wasn't worried about it because of how much they were calling me. And then we got in Des Moines and it was there, so God was working.
The condos we stayed in were beautiful.
We were blessed with the Weavers' grandparents owning some down there, and also they knew people who owned condos too, so we got to stay there.
We had a really nice view that just looked right out on the ocean, and there was a path that you could go down and just walk in the water and collect seashells. Swimming in the ocean was a lot of fun, except for when you got knocked out by a wave or got a mouthful of salt water.
I actually learned how to swim. Just being in the ocean was amazing, and getting tumbled by waves was an experience to remember.
I mean, snorkeling, that was really cool.
It was the first time that I'd ever done it. We also went boogie boarding, and you take some rough tumbles, but after you get the hang of it, it's fun.
We went to the turtle sanctuary, and I have never seen a sea turtle that big up close in my life, and I have never seen an iguana in my life, like in real life. But going to the iguana farm, it was interesting because there's iguanas all over the place, and they were piled on each other, and it was just really interesting.
Going to the migrant worker camp was a very cool experience because we got to help out people who are less fortunate than us, whose income is uncertain and they're not sure where they're going to live half their life.
It was really interesting going to the migrant worker camp. It definitely wasn't what I was expecting. I just realized how little people can actually live on, and it just made me realize how blessed I am to have everything that I have here.
We saw these little villages and huts, and in these sheds there were families of 8 people living in them, and that was really convicting, and it made you extremely thankful for what you had.
The country was really pretty. There was just mountains everywhere.
I really liked the ocean and the mountains.
I'm used to cornfields, so I've never really seen anything like that up close, and just the color and the ocean, and it was just beautiful. The fruit market was a lot of fun to go and see because we were able to try a lot of different fruits.
I got to try real coconut milk and coconut for the first time. It wasn't that good, but it was so fun to try and just say that I've done it.
And the restaurants were really cool because they were all just open.
We would go out to eat at the end of the day, and all of our dinner adventures were really fun, cooking together and making the meals that tasted amazing. Even though they weren't always authentic Mexican, it was still really good.
Someone convinced me to try octopus, so that was probably the most interesting thing I had down there.
The ketchup there is really, really sweet. The American Coca-Cola is much better than Mexican Coca-Cola.
funny thing about driving down there. It's incredibly crazy. I mean, you think get in the left lane, turn left? No. You get in the right lane to turn left. Everything's topsy-turvy.
The drivers they're very aggressive and everything, and it's just kind of craziness going around all the time, but we're blessed with great drivers.
We had Willie as our driver, and we had a Suburban full of girls, and we would just sing songs and talk, and Willie would tell us stories.
And I praise the Lord, my soul to keep. I just want to be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba.
I don't want to be a Babylon.
A Babylon?
I don't want to be a Babylon.
A Babylon?
They just babble on and on and on.
Oh.
I just want to be a sheep. Ba, 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 ba.
Communicating in Spanish was definitely a challenge, but it was a fun challenge.
One time Linda did leave me and the Schwartz girls at the cheese counter to order cheese alone, and we had really no idea what we were saying, but we got our cheese, so that was a learning experience on how to communicate not only with words, but also with your body language and just pointing.
The people in Mexico are very friendly towards tourists and are very patient with us when we try and speak Spanish to them and maybe mess up.
And they really appreciate that you're just trying to speak Spanish, that you're trying, and you'll laugh around. Sometimes if it's the kids, they'll make fun of you, but it's really great because they're so happy that you're trying, and then through that you can have a conversation even if it's not legit Spanish.
From the second that we got to the orphanage, everybody was just happy to see us, and they welcomed us even though they had really no idea who we were. They just let us join in whatever they were doing and had fun with us.
One thing that Casa Hogar stresses for their children is to give them lots of experience with art and music and cultural experiences to make them very well-rounded. So we packed up activities that we felt like the children would be able to do. The children would play for hours, and it didn't matter if they were 4 years old or 15. They all enjoyed it.
The children are just amazing. They all had a lot of energy. They loved playing caballitos, which is basically where we would give them horseback rides and run around the play area, and they'd constantly be saying, andale, andale, like, go faster, go faster. So that was really fun just to interact with them. They're always ready with hugs and smiles on their faces.
I really noticed about the kids that even though they'd come from really horrible situations, they were pretty much always happy or joyful about even really, really small things, like the Play-Doh that we brought one day.
They had the most beautiful smiles, and they loved to play and have fun, and you could tell that they loved beautiful things and they loved sharing what they had with other people.
They just had really innocent and loving hearts, and I was just amazed by that because I would forget that they were orphans because they were so joyful and happy.
It was really fun meeting Nancy and hearing a little bit about her story and just seeing what all she's done at the orphanage. Just really cool to see the way that she interacted with the kids and just her loving hearts for all of them. You could really tell that she had a passion for what she was doing down there.
Every single child in that orphanage has a value to her, has a value like it's her own child. The kids down there, I think her love poured out to them is reciprocated through the children. We could feel it the entire time we were down there, and it was incredible.
Willie Weaver, he started a dental clinic down there, and they started building about, it was probably 6 months ago.
Through the year, we have just been hearing about it and hearing how the progress is going, but it was really cool to just go down there and see the final project. It's been, I think, two years since we first conceived the idea, and it was just so incredible to see the look on my dad's face and Nancy's face just to see the clinic. I just had a good time seeing Mexico, kind of rediscovering it through other people's eyes, because I've been down there a lot, but just being able to share that with other people and to really get to know other people, it was a good experience, a great experience. Everything just kind of flew by really quickly, and it was just so much fun. It completely blew out any idea that I thought I would do down there.
Our time spent together with just everybody who went on the trip was really fun, and everybody who went were just really fun to be around. I think we all just had a blast, and it was definitely really fun just getting to know everyone that went on the trip better, and I feel like I came away just with a lot better relationships with everyone that I went with.
it was just obvious that God was with us and working on everybody and through everybody from the very time that we didn't miss our flight to getting back in Iowa or whatever we were doing. Losing Whitney's glasses in the ocean, he was there, and it was just really cool to see everybody's different abilities come out as we were working with the kids or just having time together. And the encouragement that we all shared with each other was fantastic. And just staying up till 3 a.m. the last night playing games or just laughing or squashing huge bugs in our condos. Everything was really fun, and we just got to know each other a lot better, and I'm just really thankful for that.
Gracias por su apoyo para el viaje de 2012. Thank you for your support of the 2012 trip.